Andy, if you could, just your thoughts on the match.
I'd rather answer questions, please. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, thanks.
Fine. Ben?
Andy, you obviously were getting upset about Tsitsipas leaving the court specifically, and you think you accused him of cheating when you were talking to your box and supervisor. Just what did you see? What was so maddening to you about what was going on out there?
It's not so much leaving the court, it's the amount of time. I spoke to my team before the match about it and said to expect that and prepare for it if things were not going his way. So I was trying to do that, but the issue is that you cannot stop the way that affects you physically. When you're playing a brutal match like that, stopping for 7-8 minutes, you do cool down, and it's you can prepare for it mentally as much as you like, but it's the fact that it does affect you physically when you take a break that long, multiple times during the match. Every single time it was either, before my serve as well. And I think when he took the medical timeout, it was just after I'd won the third set. And also in the fourth set, when I had love 30, he chose to go, and I don't know if he changed his racket or what he was doing. But yeah, it can't be coincidence that it's happening, at those moments. I don't believe the foot is causing him any issue at all. The match went on for another 2 and a bit hours after that or something, and he was fine, moving great, I thought. And yeah, it's just disappointing because I feel it influenced the outcome of the match. Not necessarily, I'm not saying I necessarily win that match for sure, but it had influence on what was happening after those breaks. And, I rate him a lot. I think he's a brilliant player, and I think he's great for the game. But I have zero time for that stuff at all, and I lost respect for him.
Hold on. Raise your hand, please. Okay.
So what would you want to do? You'd want the officials to step in and just say, look,
Ultimately, they can't do anything because the rules are there. But I sit on the player council and we speak about it all of the time, about changing these rules and trying to make it less easy for the rules to be exploited, I guess. Some suggestions are if you take a medical timeout or a break before, let's say, my serve, that you forfeit the game. So I just start the set 1-love up. That's one thing that's sort of been discussed. A couple of other things are like you get 2 5-minute breaks during a match or something, and that's it. There's various different suggestions that are out there, but what do you think? I mean, do you think that that's normal? Do you think that it should change? Do you think that it's totally fine, or what? I mean,
no, I don't know. I mean, it's gamesmanship. I guess he's bending the rules, but like you say, he took it too far.
That's what I feel. But if everyone else feels like that's totally cool and there's no issue with it, then maybe I'm the one being unreasonable. But I think it's nonsense, and he knows it as well.
Ben?
His opponent in Cincinnati was accusing Tsitsipas of using his phone while he was off court to communicate with his coach. Was that in your mind a suspicion as well, or are you just talking about style tactics, basically?
No, I mean, no, I don't think so. And yes, I certainly, I would have no idea if that's happening. But yeah, I'm not accusing him of that. But he knows. The other players know. The fact that I was talking to my team about it before the match, we knew it was coming. But you could argue that I shouldn't let that affect me, but genuinely it is difficult. Like when you're playing such a brutal match in those conditions, to have those breaks physically, you can't stop that from affecting you. Mentally, yes, but physically you can't.
Stuart Fraser of the Times. Another sort of pivotal moment in the match seemed to be towards the end of the second set when your shoes seemed, I don't know if they were covered in sweat or whatever, but can you just explain what happened there? And like, some people might be surprised that you, as a sort of fairly high profile tennis player, have only one pair of shoes with you.
Yeah, so that's my bad. But I've never had that happen in a match, and the shoes I were wearing were pretty new, and I've never had issues with my shoes during a match before. Certainly never what was happening there. Like the shoes got so wet that at the end of the set, I was slipping basically and was losing balance, and that's why I needed to change after the set, and it was fine. But yeah, I guess something for me to learn from in future, to make sure that doesn't happen again. And that was my bad, and was an important moment in the match. Yeah.
Bill in the back of the room.
Bill Simons, Inside Tennis. You just said it's just so hard to sort of stop and go with a break like that. Sort of as an elite athlete out there, just describe how difficult that is and what happens. Does the body just cool down, or what's the process?
It just cools down a little bit, and also like usually like at the end of sets, or like today, if you look when it happened, they were the end of the second set, you obviously lots of adrenaline running through your body, lose a set like that, and then take a long break, and the adrenaline sort of I guess wears off a little bit. That's what it feels like, and you just feel a little bit flat, and as the longer the match goes on, like 7-10 minutes after a match finishes, for example, when you go into the locker room and sit down a bit, you start stiffening up a bit as well, certainly at my age anyway, maybe not when I was in my early 20s, but there's a few things, and I'm sure it affects everyone kind of a bit differently, but that's how it affects me.
Right side.
Russell Fuller, BBC. Andy, how much hope does that give you for the future, the fact that you could play for nearly 5 hours with the third best player in the world, and seemingly without any discomfort, and playing with a huge amount of freedom?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've said it a lot over this last few months that I know I'm capable of playing that tennis. I need to spend time on the court and getting the chance to play against these guys, and ultimately when I get on the court with them, need to prove it. Tonight, I guess I proved some things to a certain extent. Obviously didn't win the match tonight, but from a physical perspective, I thought I did quite well. Would have liked to have done a little bit better physically at times, but there was also other circumstances that were not helping that either. So overall, I did well tonight, but I'm really, really disappointed. Really disappointed after that. Frustrated, all those things. Really disappointed.
Okay, we're going to transition to online now. Andy, you can see on the left-hand side. Please unmute yourself when you're called upon. Simon, you are live. Name and affiliation, please. Thank you.
Hi, Simon Briggs, Daily Telegraph. Did you come out of it feeling that you could have, if you got over the line, that you'd be in good enough shape to come back and win again on Wednesday? I know you don't know until the morning, but I mean, you came out of it with no obvious physical issues.
Yeah, look, physically I felt pretty good on the court in terms of like my body lasted pretty well. I was chasing balls down right until the end. And yeah, obviously I have no idea how I'm going to feel tomorrow yet. I would imagine I'll be pretty sore. Afterwards, I'd imagine he would be as well. And yeah, that's the tough thing about about slams, is that matches like that are really tough on the body. I've obviously not had a particularly long year, but for a lot of the guys that have played many matches, it can be tough to recover from at this stage of a season. But yeah, I'll find out, I guess. Well, I'm not going to get to find out because I don't get to play another match. So, maybe in 2 days my body feels okay. But, if I had to go and play 5 hours again or 3 hours in the heat, maybe my legs would be fatigued. But I don't get the opportunity to find that out now.
For those online, if you want to join the press conference, you need to message interview room 1 so that we can recognize you. If not, we will take a question in the room. Matt, go ahead.
Andy, can I ask you just, you're Matt Futterman from the New York Times. Can I say something just not off the match, but on the ATP's recent announcement that they were going to review the sexual abuse policy? And I was curious, as a member of the council, if you had thoughts about that.
Well, I think it's a positive thing. I mean, I've spoken about it a couple of times this year. Obviously, it was something that needed to change. In terms of how some of the situations have been handled, I think this year, and just didn't really feel like the sport had much of a sort of stance on it, really. So yeah, I guess that's a step in the right direction. I think is there like an independent body looking at it or something? Yeah. So yeah, let's see what their suggestions and recommendations are at the end of that, and yeah, hopefully, there is a policy in place at the end of it.
Andy, we're going to go back online. Tamani, you are live. Please unmute yourself. Name and affiliation, please. Thank you.
Hi, Andy. Tamani Carrier of The Guardian. I'm not sure if someone asked you this, but I was curious about your serve, which has increased in miles per hour. Like, I know it was also during the other hardcore tournament. So just wondering what you've changed about that, and if anything, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I made some technical changes after Wimbledon because, I felt like at Wimbledon I'd lost some, not just at Wimbledon, but it'd been the case this year that I'd lost some pace on the serve and was not getting that many free points. So I made technical change to it, which seems to have helped with the pace, and certainly have got more free points on my serve this summer than I was at Wimbledon and during the grass season and at the beginning of the year. But the courts are also quick here, and the conditions have been hot and lively, so that could have helped that a little bit. But I did make a change after Wimbledon, and it seems to have helped a bit. Just wasn't able to serve consistently tonight. I guess in the fourth and fifth sets, serve was just, I lost a little bit of speed, and maybe that was down to a bit of fatigue and stuff. But yeah, I served quite well the matches that I played over here.
Last question online. Simon, last question at the press conference. You're live.
Simon Briggs again. Just back on the bathroom breaks. I mean, do you feel like the sport in general is just kind of slow to react to things like this? Because God knows we've been writing about bathroom breaks in umpteen matches for as long as I can remember, and we're still talking about it, and there's no guideline. I mean, do you feel like that's the kind of feeling of tennis, that it takes a long time to address these things?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just do something about it. Like, speak about it all of the time and nothing ever gets done. Same things keep happening. But yeah, if people don't care enough about it to change, then that's fine. But look, I'll speak to my team about it. I'll listen to what I don't know, fans, players, and everything are saying about it. And maybe I'm being unreasonable. Maybe I'm overreacting to something because I lost the match. But yeah, right now sitting here, I feel like it's nonsense, and they should change. They need to make a change, because it's not good for the sport. It's not good for TV. It's not good for fans. I don't think it's a good look for the players either, because I'm sitting in here after a match like that against one of the best players in the world, and rather than talking about, how fantastic he is, and how good he is for the game, and how great it was for me that I was able to put on a performance like that after everything that's gone on the last 4 years. I'm sitting in here talking about bathroom breaks and medical timeouts and delays in matches, and that's rubbish. Like, that shouldn't. I don't think that that's right. And I said to Nicola, I was like, I don't want to do press tonight, because I know I'm going to sit here and it's going to seem like I'm just smashing him. And yeah, that's annoying for me, because sounds like sour grapes because you've lost a match and everything. And I would have said the same thing if I'd won. I promise. It was nonsense, and he knows it.